Hello, Michael Lewis again, here from Empire Improv. I am responding to a question from Dan Irwin, who has a question about writing and what kind of improv exercises he can use to facilitate writing, which is a great question. I myself am not much of a writer because I don't have discipline, and being an improviser for most of my life, it has made me very comfortable with creating art spur of the moment and letting it disappear, which has made me a not disciplined writer because that requires time and sitting down and creating something and going back and editing it and thinking it through and all of those things, which are skills I would love to have. And I think it's admirable anyone who is a dedicated writer. And I wish that I had that kind of discipline. But a lot of writing, especially the initial part, especially if you're looking to generate ideas or you're looking to start things out, improv probably isn't the best thing for creating intricate plot dynamics or metaphors or elaborate meanings and those kind of depths of rich literature. But what improv can do would be a great way to get you started with an idea. So if you have a one line idea for a show or a book or a novel or a scene or whatever, write it down, take it as your suggestion, and start writing. Write it as dialogue between two characters, like you're playing a scene by yourself. Or write it as a monologue, an internal monologue from a character, or something that character is saying to somebody else. So I think that improv is a great way to generate ideas, and there's a lot of schools, Second City among them, that see improv primarily as a way to generate ideas or the beginnings of what will become written work. So I think those are a lot of great things. Dan talked about he uses the exercise, What's Wrong with Neil Patrick Harris, which is an exercise where a group of people are all looking, they see Neil Patrick Harris, and then slowly they kind of create the picture. So I think that's probably a really great way to kind of get ideas going. And I think if nothing else, that if you aren't a disciplined writer, so this is probably directed at myself here, if I spent, every day spending 5 minutes of doing, what's wrong with Neil Patrick Harris, just as a description exercise of what's it like to describe an image or something that you see, will be a great way to develop that skill as a writer. Or if you're trying to do it as dialogue, writing a two-person scene back and forth. That's what an improv scene is. Doing, as an improv exercise, doing a scene by yourself is really good because you kind of experience what it's like to be in a scene with you. Not exactly, but it's pretty similar to that. So I think that's a good thing you can do. So I don't really have any other specific things you can do as far as improv exercises go. I mean, you could take anything as like a starting point. What are, even word association games. So you just, what is this word that leads into this word, leads into this word, leads into this word. And maybe that'll give you some sort of theme or idea that's going to make you think about it. Or I think the other thing that's probably really a good idea is when you tell true stories, we're doing a Harold or an Armando style form, you take a suggestion and then you tell a true story, which can form scenes. I think that's probably a great way to generate writing ideas is find, use a random word generator if you're stuck, and then tell a true story or write out a true story from your own life. And that story itself might be interesting in and of itself, but if not, pull out the things about it that are interesting and then create fictionalized, more interesting, more funny, more dynamic stories from that. So for someone who's not a writer, I talked an awful lot about something I don't know a lot about. But I do think that improv is probably a great way, especially if you're stuck. If you're working on a piece that you have, just the discipline of working on it and working on it will do better. But if you're just stuck, you're like, oh, I don't have anything to write about, I think having some some background in improvisation is probably a really great way to kind of get you past that hump. Oh, okay, I'll try this. Oh, I'll try that. Oh, here's a quick 5 minute thing I can do that'll just get me writing again. And just being active in writing, I think, is the best way to do it. All the people I know that are good writers are people that write a lot. And probably true of improvisers too. The people that are all really good improvisers are people that spend a lot of time improvising, even if they're not doing it now. But so I guess that's my best answer for you, Dan. Hopefully that's something that's useful for you. The other thing you can do is if you are an improviser, you can find a writing partner and treat them as a scene partner. Create some scenes. Let those kind of generate ideas. Or take some of that dialogue you think is interesting and find a way to re-improvise it. And that's kind of the Second City style way of creating things. But that's working with a writing partner, and then you have somebody to improvise with. So that's a great way to do it too. Well, I hope that answers your question at least a little bit, or gives you maybe some more fun ideas about using improv skills into incorporating into becoming a better writer or a more active writer, or just tools to become a writer. All right. Well, thanks for listening.